Listen, I get it. But no. This is not a conspiracy. The lottery is not rigged.
Every year, millions of fans watch the NBA draft. It's supposed to be fair. The worst teams get a chance to rebuild by picking the best young players. It's supposed to be based on luck. But what if it isn't? What if the results are just a little too perfect? Well, today, we're going to be exploring some of the biggest scandals and conspiracy theories in NBA draft history. From frozen envelopes, to suspicious trades, to tampering and draft rule changes. We're going to look at the real stories that the fans wonder if the NBA is playing fair. Let's get into this. Let's start with the first ever NBA draft lottery. The year was 1985. The NBA was just starting to get popular. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird were the big stars, and the league was growing fast. That year, the league introduced a new way to decide who got the number one pick. Instead of giving it automatically to the worst team, they put envelopes with team names into a big spinning drum. The prize? Patrick Ewing, the best college player in the country at the time. And who was the winner? The New York Knicks. Now here's where it gets weird. At the time, the New York Knicks were the highest market value in the NBA. And so them landing Patrick Ewing with the number one pick would boost the NBA's ratings. People speculated that one of the envelopes, the one with the Knicks name, had a bent corner. Some fans say that the envelope was also frozen so NBA Commissioner David Stern could feel for it and pull it out on purpose. Even though there's no visual proof that this happened, fans have talked about this for decades. Howard Beck, a longtime NBA journalist, said, "This conspiracy has lived longer than most careers in the league." Was it rigged? We may never know, but it was the first time people started to doubt the lottery fairness. But let's fast forward to 1993. The Orlando Magic had just won the number one pick the year before and selected Shaquille O'Neal, a future Hall of Famer and the most dominant big man in the NBA. So, in 1993, they only had a 1.52% chance of winning again. And guess what? They did. They got the top pick 2 years in a row, even though the odds were slim to none. They used that pick to draft Chris Webber, then traded him for Penny Hardaway and more picks. This helped Orlando become a powerhouse in the 90s. Again, fans started asking, how lucky is too lucky? Was this just a fluke? Or did the NBA just want a new small market team to rise fast? But moving on to the 2003 draft, which is one of the most famous ever. Why? Because of one name, LeBron James.
With the first pick in the 2003 NBA draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers select LeBron James.
LeBron was a high school superstar. People were already calling him the chosen one. LeBron was from Akron, Ohio, just down the road from Cleveland. And guess who won the first pick? You guessed it, the Cavaliers. The Cavs had a 22.5% chance, which isn't bad, but not guaranteed. Some fans believed it was just too perfect. LeBron got to stay in Ohio, the NBA got a hometown hero story, and the Cavs, a struggling team, got the best young player in the generation. Even former players like Rasheed Wallace joked that the draft always works out for the league. LeBron became a global icon, and his draft story helped the NBA's popularity explode. But in 2008, the NBA gave us another too good to be true story. That year, the Chicago Bulls had just a 1.7% chance to win the top pick, and they did. And who was the best player in that draft? You got it, Derrick Rose. And where was he from? Chicago. So the Bulls, one of the league's most historic teams, got to draft a hometown star right when they needed to get back on top after the post-Michael Jordan years. Some fans cheered, others raised their eyebrows. How does a team with such low odds keep winning the lottery when there's a big story involved? Now I'm starting to see the trend here, but here's where things get really suspicious. In 2012, the New Orleans Hornets won the draft lottery. That prize that year? Anthony Davis, a 6'10 phenom with a wingspan like an airplane. At the time of the lottery, the NBA itself owned the Hornets. Their previous owner had sold the team, and the league hadn't found a buyer yet. So when the NBA-owned team won the right to draft a future superstar, fans across the country cried foul. ESPN host Bill Simmons tweeted, I feel like I'm watching a pro wrestling storyline right now. Was this a setup to make the team more valuable before selling it to a new owner? The league said no, but the internet didn't buy it. But more recently, in 2023, the San Antonio Spurs won the #1 pick. They used it to draft Victor Wembanyama, a 7'4" French prodigy who was already being called the best prospect since LeBron. The Spurs did have a good shot, but the fans noticed something. This was the third time that the Spurs had lucked out. In 1987, they got David Robinson. In 1997, Tim Duncan. And now in 2023, Wemby. 3 generational players, 3 #1 picks, all to a small market team that the NBA might want to keep relevant. In 2025, though, it happened again. The Dallas Mavericks, with just a 1.8% chance, won the lottery. They already had Luka Doncic, but then traded him and were close to contending with him on that team. But after that trade, the Dallas Mavericks started going on a downward spiral, having so many injuries that they might have had to forfeit games. Kyrie Irving, out for the season. Oliver Prosper, out for the season. Anthony Davis had multiple injuries to where he barely played. Brandon Williams, Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington, Jaden Hardy, Caleb Martin, all were injured, and this team was literally turning into shambles. So getting the #1 pick, which they can most likely use to draft Cooper Flagg, would be a giant change for this organization. People started shouting on social media, rigged. This is the frozen envelope all over again. Even though it's all probably legal and above board, fans couldn't help but wonder, why do certain teams always get this lucky? And more importantly, why does it always seem to benefit the NBA's ratings? But it's not just the lottery where shady stuff happens. In recent years, teams have been caught breaking the rules through tampering, talking to players or agents before it's allowed. In 2022, the 76ers lost 2 draft picks for tampering with PJ Tucker and Daniel House. The Knicks were also investigated for tampering with Jalen Brunson. Why? Because Brunson's dad worked for the Knicks, and there were signs that they had talked before free agency officially opened. Even if it's not about the top pick, stuff like this affects the entire draft process, and the NBA has started punishing teams harder for breaking these rules. There's also controversy around who gets to enter the draft. The NBA has a rule that players must be at least 19 years old and 1 year out of high school. This is called the one and done rule. Some people say it protects young players from rushing into the pros too soon. Others say it keeps poor athletes from making money right away. To get around this, some players now join the G League Ignite or play overseas for 1 year instead of going to college. And sometimes teams use these rules to their advantage, hiding players or steering them towards certain teams with promises behind the scenes. It's legal, but is it fair? You let me know in the comments what you think. Also, let me know what other videos you want to see, and go ahead and check out my other NBA videos that are about to pop up on the screen right now. Go ahead and subscribe, like the video, turn on that notification bell so that every time I post, you're the first to know. And if you like to listen to music like a regular human being does, well, I just dropped a new album with my homeboy Rose Capone. It's going to be Guappo, Rose Capone. The album is called Cracker Jack. I'll leave a link in the description. Go ahead and click on it. Let me know in the comments if you like it, if you don't, or just any feedback that you have for me. My name is Guappo, Stream Guappo. Peace out, y'all.